Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews. Welcome to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 9 years we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Charles Bonfiglio, the CEO of Tint World. And since 1982, Tint World has provided high-quality window tinting and vehicle accessories to people who love their cars. I'm going to talk to Charles about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we have a great show.
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you're listening to Franchise Interviews.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 9 years we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Charles Bonfiglio, the CEO of Tint World. And since 1982, Tint World has provided high-quality window tinting and vehicle accessories to people who love their cars. Hi, Charles. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Oh, thank you, Charles. It's our pleasure to have you today. We always like to ask our guests, where are you calling from this morning?
I'm calling from Boca Raton, Florida.
Ah, beautiful. How's the weather there today, Charles?
The weather's it's pretty nice. It's a little overcast, but we're just short overcast, and I'm sure it'll be beautiful today.
I'm sure. That's fantastic. Tint World has an amazing history. I mean, you guys go all the way back to 1982, don't you, Charles? I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about the history of Tint World.
Sure, I'd love to.
Go ahead. So you started back in 1982 with the organization. So, I mean, you have some longevity there, don't you?
Yes, Tint World started in 1982 for the need for a well-run, clean operation for a tint and auto accessory center. And so as the years went on, we opened up a few more stores up until the last store being corporately developed in the late 90s.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's great. And, Tint World is more than just tinting, isn't it, Charles? I mean, when I was on the website, and I saw all the different services that you provide, I mean, it's a pretty full list, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Although we started out with window tinting on cars, we expanded to homes and boats and commercial properties, and so we developed that. And also from customers' requests, we started to evolve our system to mobile electronics, car detailing services, and car and truck accessories.
That's fantastic. One of the questions we've been asking recently on the show, Charles, I mean, how has technology played a role in your business today? I mean, I'm sure it's a lot different, when you guys started back in 1982. I mean, how have you incorporated technology into the franchise today?
Well, we're an early adopter. We feel that technology plays a big role in managing businesses in multiple locations, as well as a franchise system.
Sure, absolutely. And the industry is pretty big, Charles, right? I mean, I imagine the benefits of, there's several benefits, of course, of just, if we're just focusing on tinting alone, I guess tinting gives you privacy, it keeps your car cool, especially in those hot climates, doesn't it? So there's a lot of benefits to the services that you provide, isn't there?
Yeah, not only convenient services, but also safety and preventing of things such as skin cancer. Window film protects against UVA and UVB rays that are skin cancerous, as well as protects your eyes from damage from the sun.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. My wife, she drives us crazy because one of our cars is not tinted, and so God forbid she keeps something in there, Charles. She's always afraid that someone's going to look in and see her phone or pocketbook or something in there. She thinks someone's always going to take it, so it's nice to have that privacy with tinting as well, isn't it?
Yeah. There's no doubt that a tint job on a car will actually improve the looks as well as the feel and comfort of the vehicle. It's really a nice thing. People love it.
Absolutely. And, it seems like, we've been doing this show, 10 years now, Charles, and one of the things we find is, particularly like in your industry, it seems like people, I don't know, they seems like they're keeping their cars longer, or I just get the impression that, people are taking better care of their vehicles, aren't they?
Yeah, people really have a love affair with their cars. They want to take care of them. They want to personalize them. They want to keep them protected. And as technology grows, so too does the window film and auto accessory industry, and they love their gadgets.
Absolutely. When did you guys start franchising, Charles? And so the company started in 1982, but you didn't start off as a franchise, did you? I mean, at some point, you decided to, or the company decided to start franchising this concept because you knew you had something, and you knew, it could be duplicated in pretty much any part of the country or probably even the world, I guess. So, how did that work? Maybe we could talk a little bit about franchising, when you started franchising.
Well, our brand has been built starting in 1982, and we developed 8 stores as of the end of, late 90s. And customers came in and asked us, is this a franchise? Can I open up one of these? So we all for it, and it propelled us to want to do it. And in 2006, we decided to begin franchising, and we developed all the systems and processes in place and started franchising in 2007.
Wow, that's great. It's always interesting, in hearing, those stories, Charles. I can't tell you how many times I've heard a story like that, where someone comes into your establishment and they say, are you a franchise? Or, I would love to own one of these, and that's usually, it always seems to be like one of the first signs of a company saying, we might have something here that could be duplicated in really any part of the country, So I think that's fantastic. As far as your franchisees, Charles, do you have to have experience to get into this type of franchise?
Actually not. The majority of our franchisees have never even been in the automotive or window film industry, and they just come to want it. They have an infatuation with wanting to be with it, and once they there's really no other system out there like us. So once we get them going and they see everything that we have to offer, it seems to be pretty quickly that they decide they want to move forward with the franchise.
That's great. And that's, how you have something, too, in terms of franchising is, where you have someone with, no experience, like someone like myself, who has no experience in your particular industry. But at the same time, I could learn it and it could be taught and I could duplicate the same success. So I think that's fantastic. When you're meeting with your prospective franchisees, Charles, are there any types of characteristics or traits that you look for to know that they're going to be a successful franchisee with Tint World?
Well, it's always hard to pick, who's going to be the right candidate, but we really try to consult with them for their best interest, because their best interest is ultimately our best interest. We want someone who's going to be engaged, someone who's going to enjoy the business, put the time in, and after a short period of time, and they see what kind of processes we have, we really automate the system with the point of sale, an intranet system, online marketing, and we try to take away the heavy lifting and let them focus on their customers and their staff.
Right, because that's the key to the success, isn't it? It's just, focusing on the customer, particularly, in this business. It's really so important. How does the training work then, Charles? I mean, once you decide, you like them, they like you. Do they come down to corporate headquarters for training? How does that typically work, and what do they learn in the training?
Well, after they make a determination and we feel that it's a good fit with them, a prospect, at that point they would come down for Discovery Day, and once they move forward, we would help them find a location, negotiate a lease or a purchase of the property, and at that point, once that is secure, we schedule training. Training is a 3-week training program in South Florida, and once they finish training, usually within 4 to 6 weeks, they're open for business after they leave training. After they open up business, we send an operations manager team to go to their store and basically help them with their hiring and staffing and promoting of their business. And right before their grand opening, they're ready to roll.
That's fantastic. What is a typical day like for our listeners who are, listening, Charles, and they don't know a lot about this type of business, but they know, that the industry is very lucrative. It's a very lucrative business model. How does it work if you're a franchisee? From the beginning of the day till the end of the day and everything in between. Is there such thing as a typical day as a franchisee?
Well, I guess in any business, nothing's typical, but once you get experience in operating it, it does become pretty much the same. So they'll, again, after they're open for a while, they really don't have to put as much time into the store. Some of them have managers, some of them have multi-store locations. So it does change from individuals. But if the store is a single-store owner, they'll come in, they'll open up their business, they'll meet their staff, have a little strategy meeting, and move forward. And then, get their mobile vehicles on the road, tinting homes and boats and commercial buildings, while their staff internal in the store is working on scheduled appointments for tinting and mobile electronics and detailing services and car and truck accessories. So it's really quite enjoyable to have an energized staff that does things that they like to do. It's really a fun business. Yeah,
that's so important. As far as location goes, Charles, is there an ideal location? How much space is required to open up a Tint World? And do you have a preference as far as where a Tint World is actually located?
Well, we really try to help them franchisees with finding the right location, which is really key. We try to be in a nice, comfortable, suitable area where it's high traffic. The size of the space doesn't have to be very large. It could be anywhere between 2,000 square feet and 4,000 square feet, although we do have some locations that are bigger. It's just a matter of getting the location to meet the criteria and then having the franchisee match up their investment level to that location area that we're looking at for them.
That's great. For the majority of our listeners, Charles, we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. Most of our listeners, they know they want to buy a franchise, but we find through all the years of our experience and research that most of them don't even know where to begin, because they say, okay, I want to own a franchise, but where do I start? Because there's so much out there today. And from all your experience, what advice would you give to them in their quest to buy a franchise?
Well, you want to love what you do, so try to find a franchise business that you really like. Also focus on a profitable franchise where the products and services are high gross profit margins, because that really helps you go a long way and evolve. And then, of course, make sure you have a franchise system that has a good technology foundation to be able to automate your business processes as well as do your marketing with you and for you. When you have a full-service franchise like that that's giving you continuous support and operational staff support, it's going to allow you to continue to grow and evolve and not be on your own, but alone with that. But you can actually have your own business, but have someone working with you along the way to grow it as you go forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's great. Great advice, Charles. And that marketing support is so important, isn't it? I mean, marketing is not easy, is it? A lot of times people who are just going at something like this alone, like if they started their own, like say Tony's Tint World, the marketing aspect in itself becomes quite difficult. You don't know what works and what doesn't work, and Tint World has, such a long history now. You guys pretty much have it down as far as, what type of advertising, and promotions work well, don't you?
Yeah, we really do. We really have it segmented out into the 4 categories of automotive, residential, commercial, marine, and what type of customers that we serve. And really, today's world, the marketing has gotten so much more complex than it was 10, 15 years ago, where it was just traditional marketing. Now you have to understand the algorithms of Google and Bing and web development. And, people want to always be invigorated with new stuff. So we're really big into marketing and helping the franchisees so they can focus on their business.
What I liked about your model, too, when I was studying it, Charles, was, like the dual revenue streams, is it true, you're working with consumers, like regular consumers, residential, but, you also have that commercial business as well. So it seems like there was all these different types of revenue streams coming into Tint World, isn't there?
Yeah, we really focus on trying to get as many revenue streams coming into the business so franchise can live at the level of success that they want to go. And not just be confined within their 4 walls of their business model. Their brick and mortar is most important and key to develop, but we want to be able to have them branch out to working for car dealerships and working for commercial accounts and working for residential and marine, and that's really important to us to expand our business model as we move into the future.
That's fantastic. I can ask you the next question. Being the CEO of the company, where do you see Tint World, Charles? Like maybe 3 to 5 years down the road.
In what way? In the development of our business or expansion?
Yeah, as far as even the number of units. I know Tint World is nationally expanding across the country now. How many units do you see maybe 3 to 5 years down the road?
Well, the first years of any franchise system, it takes time to get to a certain level where you take notice. When we're approaching now 50 stores, and we're in 3 different countries, that really helps us expand our footprint. We're now in Saudi Arabia, UAE, in Abu Dhabi, and Dubai. We're actually in Canada as well as the U.S. So it's total 4 countries with the U.S. So that expansion is really taking notice, and we expect massive growth being in this year forward. We're hoping to have at least 35 more stores open for this year. I know it's aggressive, but we've already got half that in being developed before June. So we expect massive growth moving forward and maybe some acquisitions along the way.
That's fantastic. It must be great for you, too. To see, how far Tint World is today, Charles, from, the humble beginnings in 1982 to where the company is today. And then, you're mentioning, already being in Saudi Arabia, Canada, it must be a great feeling for you, I imagine.
It really is. It really is. There's nothing like when I hear franchisees tell me how great they're doing, how happy they are, and what the system has done for them. It's changed their life. It allowed them to live the life they wanted. There is nothing more pleasurable for me to hear than that. And that just keeps me inspired to move forward and make sure that I continue to give them the best tools and systems so they can expand their business model.
Yeah, it's always wonderful when I hear, what you just mentioned, Charles. Is that's always this seems to be the true gratification of a franchise is watching the success of your other franchisees, isn't it? It's a wonderful experience, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's really what keeps us all going. Our whole team is really engaged into that, and we just love to see these franchisees just flourish and live their dreams and give them something. We've done so well over the years, and we'd love to give this system to someone else and let them take it and run with it and just support them as they grow. It really is an amazing system, and we're really happy to help people grow.
That's fantastic. What's the best way, Charles, for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee? Is there a particular website they should go to or we can direct them to?
Yeah, well, we have the regular consumer website is tintworld.com, and then we also have tintworldfranchise.com, where they can get information and download a brochure and a catalog about the business model, as well as 800 number that they can call. It's 1-800-767-8468. They can ask for the franchise development department, and they'll be happy to consult with them on any interest they have.
That's great. It was a pleasure for me to talk to you, Charles. I've been following your franchise for a little while now, so, I was really excited to have you on the show, and I think this is a great opportunity, and I'd already like to invite you back next year as you continue to grow. I think this is wonderful.
We'd love to be here, and we're happy to continue with your support, be on the show next year.
That's fantastic. It was great to talk to you, Charles, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Are you looking for a franchise that delivers? Businesses will always need shipping, and for more than 25 years, loyal customers have depended on Unishippers for reliable savings and exceptional customer service. Unishippers is focused on just one thing: helping small and medium-sized businesses save time and money on all their shipping needs. And as the largest reseller of complete shipping services in the country, we have the buying power to ensure that we succeed. The Unishippers franchise offers low startup costs, no equipment or real estate required because they're not retail, residual income, and a quality of life and work-life balance. For more information on becoming a Unishippers franchisee, go to www.unishippers.com and click Franchise Opportunities, or call Franchise Development at 801-708-5822. That's 801-708-5822.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you're listening to Franchise Interviews.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 8 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Today's Great Quote in Franchising is being brought to you by
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, Don and I have been hosting for years and almost have done 100 shows up to this point, and during that time frame we've had some fantastic quotes on our show. Today you're going to get to hear from one of the top franchise attorneys in the country, Kevin Hine, and Kevin's going to talk to you about the hallmark of franchising. Our podcast today is being brought to you by Franchise Interviews, LLC, and Franchise Interviews gives you an up-close and behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get inside tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show on Blog Talk Radio, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and franchise attorneys. And our monthly franchise newsletter, which is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise. And here we go with Kevin Hine.
I think whether or not they can easily replicate their system, the more difficult, the more detailed the operation is, the harder it is to replicate. So, for example, take the food industry. You see lots and lots of franchise companies in the quick service restaurant segment, in the fast casual segment, but you see very few successful franchise companies in the fine dining or the white tablecloth segment.
True.
And the reason is that it's very difficult to teach other people to execute at that level. When you've got people coming in at a very high price point, they don't want just food, they want a good experience, and that requires a certain level of skill and expertise, and it's very hard to replicate that across restaurants, even in a single city, much less across the country. So you want to make sure that you have something that's pretty easy to replicate and that you can train people on, because frankly you want people to you want your franchisees to come in and be able to duplicate what you've done, or you're not going to build a very successful franchise system.
Right. I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons people invest in a franchise, of course, the money aspect, but because of this, the simplicity, hopefully, that the franchisor puts together. So this is a big part of you know, what you're talking about here, Kevin.
Absolutely. And the hallmark of franchising, and I know that some people can be critical of this, but the hallmark of franchising is that you give people the same experience no matter what market they're in.
Exactly.
You know, and we all know that if we stop at a McDonald's, whether we're in Portland, Oregon, or Portland, Maine, that hamburger is going to be the same.
Right.
And it's the same experience, and people come to rely on that and count on that experience, and that's why franchising has been so successful in so many industries.
Absolutely.
You know, and the last thing I always tell people is that you better have a unique marketing proposition. If you're going to try and franchise something and it's already been done, then you're at a real disadvantage. If you're just going to roll out the next hamburger chain franchise and there's nothing unique about what you do, then people are not going to be interested in buying into your system. They want to know, how do I compete with McDonald's, not how do I stand out there as a me too in comparison to McDonald's. So whether it's a new way of providing the service, whether it's a new way of collecting money, whether it's a new gimmick in terms of getting people in the door. I think of Pizza Patrón, for example, the pizza chain out of Texas that serves predominantly the Latino market that recently started to accept pesos.
Right,
and I mean, that's a great marketing proposition. It's a way to say, look, yeah, we sell pizza, but boy, is this ever, you know, a unique way to get people in the door, people who have different currencies and who have different issues. You know, we're going to service that market. That's something unique, and that's one of the things that makes that chain particularly unique, and therefore it's able to attract people to become prospective franchisees.
Yeah, that pizza chain got a lot of PR too, Kevin, from that whole thing. You know, by doing something different. You know, it was they were pretty much in every national newspaper across the United States.
Right. Well, you know, there's the old saying that, you know, good PR or bad PR is the same. It's going to drive people in the door.
Right. And wasn't that your idea, Kevin, that accepting pesos?
That I would love to say that was my idea, but I'm not quite that creative.
You know, you brought up a good point about the uniqueness here. I mean, I don't know if you listened earlier, but last week we interviewed Badass Coffee, and you know, there's a lot of different coffee franchises, but they stand out because they're quality coffee. They have a Hawaiian theme. Right. They have a whole story behind it. It was why they're having success, Kevin, is this point you're bringing up about the unique marketing, you know, proposition.
Right, that's what I thought of, Don. As Kevin was explaining this, I thought of the same thing, Badass Coffee.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a great example. There's lots of coffee purveyors out there.
Right.
What's the hook? What's the hook to get people to buy the franchise? And more importantly, what's the hook to get new customers in the door?
Exactly.
Right.
Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising from Franchise Interviews. Take care.
If you'd like to hear that whole interview with Kevin Hine, all you have to do is go to franchiseinterviews.com, go to our Franchises by Category page, and go to our Franchise Services category, and you can hear that whole interview with Kevin Hine. He was just fantastic. And lastly, we'd like to just thank everyone for making this podcast such a big hit. It's hard to imagine. We're going on our 10th year, 500th show. It's just been a wonderful experience. So thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising from Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.